WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app.
What's going on out there, basketball heads, and welcome to another edition of Court Vision, brought to you as usual by War Room Sports in conjunction with the Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev, and I'm at the round table today with the homie B. Austin of War Room Sports.
Yo, Chris Paul, stop bitching, yo.
We got Frank from the Sports Kings. Doesn't say it, but we got him.
Shout out to Jim Ricalto, who was waiting for Floyd Mayweather 4 hours in the blistering cold. 4 hours, you just know.
All right, and we got Jimmy the Blueprint of War Room Sports.
I just want to say to Deron Williams that at one point I made an argument that you were better than Chris Paul, and it's to the point now where like, yo, your bodyguard's Uchiwali verse is better than yours, yo.
Yeah. You know, I used to carry that flag as well. All right, so this is our awards edition, and by the time you guys see this, a lot of the NBA awards may have been given out. I know 2 or 3 has been given out already. However, that doesn't matter because we do our awards. They're our awards. We don't care who's already won. If we disagree with that, we're going to let you guys know that. So let's jump right into our NBA awards edition. And, well, this one isn't a part of our docket because I think it's pretty much across the board. We agree. Executive of the Year, LeBron James. We good with that?
Yeah, we got to be.
Everybody? All right. Executive of the Year, LeBron James.
Give him that award, too.
So let's start off the court, on the side of the court, with Coach of the Year. B. Austin, who you got for the Coach of the Year?
Stephen Kerr for my Coach of the Year. I'm very impressed with anyone who can lead one of the typical bottom feeders in Golden State to the prominence that they've reached, and I believe they will have some playoff success. So I'm going with little Stevie Kerr and his shooting contest with his star player in practice.
Okay. That's a very good pick. I mean, they were the number 1 seed in the West, number 1 seed in the league. That's just something you haven't come to expect from the Golden State Warriors. And even though they did well under Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr did take them to the next level. I'm going to disagree with that pick, though, and I'm going to go with the guy who actually won it, Mike Budenholzer from Atlanta. Because
I wanted to pick him, but I couldn't pronounce his name.
I probably pronounced it wrong just now. But while Steve Kerr is a great pick, I look at the other side. 60 wins for the Atlanta Hawks. Seriously, I even after last season, I don't even know if I picked Atlanta to get to the playoffs this year. I don't know. I probably did, but if I did, it was nowhere near the top of the Eastern Conference, even though, we know the weakness of the East. But even with that said, I don't think a lot of people picked Atlanta to be up there. So I love the job he's done. They're playing team ball like the Eastern Conference version, the little mini Spurs over there. So that's my pick. Frank, who'd you go with?
If there weren't like 2 top contenders, but the 2 guys you just picked, I might have went with Brad Stevens because he literally has guys that you look at the roster and you're like, how are these people even in the league? And he turned them into a playoff team in the East, granted. I'm also going to go with Steve Kerr. If you remember when Steve Kerr got hired, Steph Curry was like, I want Mark Jackson back. This is some BS. And now I'm pretty much convinced that Steph Curry doesn't even take Mark Jackson's calls anymore. He's just like, I got a new coach now.
You're gonna ruin the mojo.
You can text me. He might get some text. Maybe read a day later, and he just gives him the okay, just the okay answer to like the 3-page text. But he's not taking any calls. So I definitely got Steve Kerr, best record in a Western Conference, which is very competitive. One of the best offensive and defensive team in the league. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, and for a first-year coach, I mean, it's very impressive.
How are the Warriors the best defensive team like that? That's nuts.
No, that's just
crazy.
That's everything Don Nelson stands for.
Don Nelson. Yo, I'm looking at my notes here because I do take notes. There's 2 front runners, obviously, and you guys have named them. It's going to be 2 for Kerr and 2 for Budenholzer because that's who I picked. I think the league actually got it right. The fact that they're the Atlanta Hawks and they have 60 wins, that's like 80 wins for other teams. Like, that's the Atlanta Hawks, and for them to be the number 1 seed is amazing. Steve Kerr, he inherited a pretty good team and playoff team. Yo, they're the Hawks, B. 60 for the Hawks?
That's
Yeah, but they get to the Hawks. Haven't the Hawks been to the playoffs
Yo, 60
since
wins, baby.
since Golden State though?
even in
Like,
the
Golden
They
East,
play
State
82 games. They
barely
won
get to the
60.
playoffs.
You know what you're
But they
dismissing.
don't have the
What Jimmy's
roster to go
dismissing though is
to.
that the Warriors are the Warriors. Like it's not like you're the Bulls.
No, but they've been gradually getting better. I mean, even before Kerr got there. Now, and the thing is, their roster like has some talent. Like if you take, let's just say you would have draft between the two teams, right?
I know.
Let's say you have a draft between the Hawks and the Warriors. It'll probably be like 4 Warriors pick before the first Hawks pick.
True.
Yo, they got like Kyle Korver leading them in scoring some nights, B.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo, he made an All-Star game, yo.
Yo, he made the All-Star. He got Kyle Korver to the All-Star game.
Yo, but he made the All-Star game and then had the nerve to get off in it.
Yo, I'm just saying, you got Kyle Korver to the All-Star game, B. You coach the year.
That's all-star shooting guard Kyle Korver to you, Jimmy. Don't disrespect.
There you go. From now on, that's how it is.
12 points and no other stats.
4 threes.
All right, and Andy from Sports Kings is not with us, but we do have his picks. Who did he pick for this? Anybody have him up? I need to.
Here, he picked Budenholzer as well.
Okay, so that's
He picked Pantyhose. He put Pantyhose in too.
yeah. Somebody make sure y'all get those picks up so we get the round.
I got him.
We can actually.
I got him.
Okay. Well, let's get to.
Austin said he got him because he about to steal them all.
let's get
God,
to. Let's get to most improved player.
Actually, there's a correction. He did not pick Pantyhose.
Oh, my
He
bad.
picked Stephen Kerr.
Oh, so that's 3 for Stephen Kerr. And
Yeah.
2 for
Stephen
Kenny
Kerr, 2
Holzer.
for Buttonholzer.
All right, so most improved player, B. Austin. Who'd you pick in this category?
My most improved player has to be Jimmy Butler because I expected him to imitate Ira Newble, and he has not done that with his career. He has.
Why'd you think he was that bad?
I don't know. He's balled out, and he's probably, if not equal with Derrick Rose in terms of importance and value, he's only a half hair of a step underneath him. I mean, night in and night out, they need Jimmy Butler and Powell, and they're prepared to do what they need to do without Derrick Rose. So, I think that he's the key to the perimeter, both defensively and offensively. You can throw the ball to him, and he creates offense.
I agree with your pick. I picked Jimmy Butler as well. Wasn't that easy for me, though? I mean, because of
Who else did you have up there?
Because of what they're used to with Derrick Rose, I do think, Jimmy Butler has stepped it up to the next level, especially in the scoring department. He's averaging 7 more points per game than he did last season.
You about to steal my pick,
yo,
watch.
It was very difficult for me not to give this award to the same person I gave it to last year.
Anthony Davis?
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that because those are my 2 people I have down as well. I actually gave it to Jimmy Butler. I wanted to give it to Anthony Davis as well, but I'm not going. I'm a little bit different than you. I have, for every pick that we have, I give an honorable mention. My honorable mention was to Anthony Davis. But I do think that Jimmy Butler far and away won this award. Because Anthony Davis did take a step up to another level. I'm like, damn, who gets this good this fast? But Jimmy Butler took a huge step. Like, Jimmy Butler, like Austin said, is arguably their most important player. Now, Anthony Davis was their most important player, like, the day he was drafted. But
I think, and like I said, I gave it to Jimmy as well, but I think Anthony Davis, like, last year's jump was crazy. Like, he went from, like, 13 points per game to 20 points per game. This time, he's up to, like, 24. But last year, we were saying, okay, he went from just a talented rookie to one of the better power forwards in the league. I think this year, he went from one of the better power forwards in the league to maybe, arguably, a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
Like,
or as Dev said, or as Dev hates when we say,
he's not
one of the top 5 players in the world.
He has skills right now. Like, where are all these skills coming from all of a sudden? So that's why I had to give him serious consideration, but I do give it to Jimmy Butler as well. Frank, who's your pick?
I didn't give him serious consideration. I gave him the award. I think it's got to be Anthony Davis for all the reasons Devin just said. And
He's a superstar now, bona fide.
I think Jimmy Butler obviously is probably who's going to win it and is definitely worthy. But he sort of hit a wall in the middle of the season as well, where he, especially when D Rose came back, and I think it was an adjustment period, but he sort of took a backseat a little bit. And I mean, like Dev said,
He got injured.
I mean, you can say that, but also you gotta. I mean, Anthony Davis
Anthony
missed a lot of
Davis
games
went
too.
from, all right, he's going to be one of the best players in the league soon to actually being maybe the best player in the league. Everybody before the season was saying, "Oh yeah, look for the leap where he might be a superstar." And then
but here's the thing though, and I'm not.
So,
I'm not trying to argue with you
Frank,
because
are
both
you
players
saying that he's
deserve
better
it.
than Raymond? Because if you're saying that, I'll co-sign that with you.
No, but listen to this, Frank. Listen to this, Frank.
I'm gonna trash him at some point, and some point be Austin in the show, but it's not now.
Listen. Here's my thing, right? And I'm not really trying to argue with you because both guys are deserving of this award. But when I look at Jimmy Butler, right? If I had told you 2 years ago that Jimmy Butler won't be in the league in 2015, 2016, you wouldn't have been like,
yeah,
it's possible.
right.
It's possible.
True.
You could have saw that. You could have saw him out the league at this point. My man just scored 30 in the playoff game, and that has nothing to do with the regular season.
I mean, I was always a huge Jimmy Butler fan, but not at all did I think he would ever be this player. You know,
like,
maybe not even at any
Austin
point in
didn't
his
want to
career.
say it, but he thought he was headed to Bumdom.
Yo, so now the conversation on the perimeter is no longer is it Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Is it Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Jimmy Butler?
I don't think he's that good. But
I mean, yeah, you just took
well,
away.
no. You know what? Because I still don't even think Kawhi.
Well, I don't know. Paul George, you may be right. Paul
and-
George is also just coming off this injury, so we got to see how he comes back. And for a full season,
He's going to be
Kawhi Leonard just made somebody fall.
Jimmy Butler.
Just because his leg was snapped in half, he's going to get most improved next year.
Yeah, Kawhi made somebody
improve.
fall, so Kawhi get bonus points right now.
Yeah. Kawhi's still a little overrated to me, but he's
Damn.
You know, he's good and he's
Finals
better.
MVP, man.
I just think once he got that Finals
I
MVP,
agree.
people just went.
I agree with
overboard.
I
They
agree
crowned
with
him.
Dev.
They
I
crowned
agree
him.
with Dev, and I like
They want to crown his ass.
Kawhi.
Crown him.
I mean, sort of like some people did with Chauncey. I'm just saying.
It's the same way they crowned Paul George a couple of years ago. They did the same thing with Kawhi last year that they did with Paul George 2 years ago. All of a sudden, he was the third best player. They're always looking for a third best player in the league. I don't know why. Every time,
Nice though.
it's like, all right, LeBron. It's LeBron and KD, and then whoever's good that season, he's going to be the third best player in the
Yeah,
league.
they went from Chris Paul to Derrick Rose. Now
I
it's
think
like
Paul
Anthony
George
Davis.
had more of a case, but I agree. Like, I think people probably went overboard with Paul George as well. But I think he has the skills to
But Dev,
at least make an argument.
I think it's also because of the way the Spurs play and they're so boring. They want to have a star in that team that they can market. Tim Duncan is damn near unmarketable. Like you just can't.
That's true.
Nonchalant and doesn't care. Like
That factors.
they're
Into it.
looking for somebody they can
To
take.
that point-
Kawhi Leonard.
To that point, Tim Duncan had literally the most boring, dominant first half last night that I've ever seen in my life. It was like,
No,
he's
it was
7 for 8. You're like, I don't even want to watch.
Turn around, throw it in.
Bank
Hey,
shot.
well, Jim, you said that let's skip one and we'll go back to six man. Do you think the fact that they want Kawhi Leonard to be a superstar now, do you think that has anything to do with him winning the Defensive Player of the Year award, or do you have him down as your pick as well? Who you got?
I don't. Let me see. My Defensive Player of the Year I actually have down as Draymond Green. And the reason I picked him is because watching the Warriors play, and they're one of the teams I'm not going to front. The NBA sometimes is difficult to watch, but there are certain teams that I watch when I watch, and the Warriors are one of them because they're exciting to watch.
Yeah, you can watch the
And
Warriors.
when you watch the Warriors games, whoever is the other team's best wing player, he's on them. And
Yo,
they're the best defensive
my
team in the
man
league. Like he takes that
defends-
challenge.
Yo, he defends the 1 through the 5.
Yo, for like the 4
Yeah.
times, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to exaggerate and say the 5, but I've seen him check
he-
fours.
He guards some fives because fives are a
He
little
doesn't
small
only
these days.
defend the 5, he actually plays the 5 in some of their lineups. They'll
Yeah.
throw out a lineup with Draymond Green at the 5.
Jimmy tried to play me right there.
No.
He defends the 1 through the 5.
No, listen what I'm saying. The reason I don't say that is because when I watch him play, right,
I just
he
did.
does it from time to time. But people have this tendency, right, and even with Magic and
People
all,
do it all the
he
time.
plays
Same with
5
Scotty.
positions.
Scotty-
LeBron guards 5, and they
Yeah.
think that he can guard 5 based upon his body type, Pauls. But a lot of times he really doesn't guard the 5. But I get your point. To me, he's the Defensive Player of the Year for that reason. I had Kawhi down as an honorable mention because when you watch them play, he is key to their defense. He does the same thing as Draymond, but just not on that same level. And also the Spurs play more of a like team defense. They're more team defensive oriented. So I gave Draymond Green the Defensive Player of the Year. That's my pick.
I gave it to Draymond as well. I think I had Kawhi somewhere around third. I had to give DeAndre Jordan some consideration since that's all he can really do anyway. Defense and dunk, but put some of that energy into his free throw shooting.
You're gonna give somebody third place and then insult him at the same time.
He's better than Dwight, though.
I gave DeAndre second place.
In the words of Shaq, he's better than Dwight.
I gave Kawhi Leonard like third place, so I'm with Jimmy. I went with Draymond Green as well. He's the catalyst, of a team that played great team defense this particular year. You know, it's something to be said when you're the best defender on, the number one defense in the league, because oftentimes you are that catalyst, and the team took on your personality and yada yada, all the cliches.
All the cliches.
So that's three. That's three for Draymond, because Andy, our comrade in arms, Andy Flynn, also chose Draymond Green.
Do we give Andy's most improved player? I think I probably don't even have to ask because he's Jimmy Butler's agent.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he wanted a special shout out for the agency. He said in his
he's
comment.
Jimmy's agent.
There's Jimmy's agent.
Salute to another defensive stalwart on the Warriors, which is Andrew Bogut. Now, I don't think that he was anywhere near Defensive Player of the Year, but he helps anchor that Golden State team and plays a lot of D. Salute to the Frenchman Rudy Gobert, because he played a lot of defense this year. What else could he do, really? Kawhi got it. I had DeAndre Jordan as my Defensive Player of the Year. Salute to Draymond and Kawhi, but DeAndre was mine.
Yeah, we'll make it I had you didn't have Draymond Green be Austin said, I guess.
Yeah.
I was gonna make it a consensus, but you can't do that if it's not a consensus.
Yeah.
So I also had Draymond Green. I actually had Draymond as my runner-up for most improved player of the year. But I think it's kind of weak to give somebody two awards. So I had him as defensive player of the year. The difference maker for me was that in the Kawhi versus Draymond, Kawhi missed 18 games this season. I don't think you can miss almost a quarter of the season and win an award over somebody who's definitely worthy of it. I think it's interesting that the top two candidates to me were not big guys, which is historically like, okay, who was the best center defending this year? Okay, he's going to win the award. But it was two wing defenders, and I think that's a message of how the league's transitioning, where it becomes way more important to be Draymond wing.
Is Draymond a wing player? Because he plays the four. I know he's a stretch four.
But he defends the wing primarily.
On defense, he defends whoever's the best wing player.
Depends on who.
LeBron's in town, he's on LeBron.
Right,
Yeah,
he's defending KD, he's defending LeBron, he's defending all
Hey,
those.
Frank, how many games did Unibrow miss this year?
I'm not sure. He missed
The brow.
10 maybe. He didn't miss. He didn't miss 18.
I just want to see. Since you gave him an award, I was just trying to see. See if you trying
to box me in.
Yeah, pretty much.
He had 68 games this year, the Unibrow.
He played
So he missed
68,
14.
14. Okay, so that's close. That's close. You got close there.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of Rudy Gobert, he could have been. I think he was in the running for most improved, but that's if you can give the award from your improvement from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. But I think it's a season award, so that takes him out. All right, so let's go back to Sixth Man of the Year. This award has already been given out in the NBA, and Lou Williams of the Toronto Raptors got it. He's in the running pretty much every year. Is one of the best six men. But I don't think I agree with the league in this one, and I'm going with Lil Zeke, Isaiah Thomas.
He ain't earned his Zeke name yet. You just got to call him Isaiah, man.
Back up off that.
I'm only saying it because of the name. But I don't know. With Boston, he played 46 games in Phoenix, 21 games in Boston, and a big part of why Lou Williams won, what they say, he played all of his games, all 80 of his games off of the bench. Because a lot of times six man may have gotten some starts in there.
Yeah.
Chuck up your average a little bit. But they both averaged around the same, about 15.5 points per game. But Isaiah Thomas, in his 21 games in Boston, averaged about 19 points per game off the bench, helped get this team into the playoffs. Nobody thought Boston was going to make the playoffs. So I just felt his performance was a little stronger. The impact of his performance was a little stronger on both of his teams.
But because he came off the bench in Phoenix a little bit too.
He
They had
came off
those
the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only started one game in this whole
Yeah, that's what
season.
I'm saying. So for me, I also had Isaiah Thomas because
Yeah.
I've never seen a six man be that productive on like two different teams and two different conferences. For Christ's sakes, like even if he stayed in Phoenix, he would have been a nominee. He'd have been a nominee for the sixth man of the year. But he went to Boston and took it up.
Right.
Yeah, he went to Boston and turned it up to another level. And I mean, since he's been there, he's like their best player. So definitely giving it to Isaiah Thomas, not to be confused with Zeke.
And actually, Jim, I misspoke. He actually averaged more points per game than Lou Williams. He averaged 16.4. And Lou averaged about 15.5 off the bench.
Lou, I had number 3. Actually going to throw B. Austin's man Jamal Crawford in there. And the only reason I'm throwing him as an honorable mention is because he's the entire bench for his team. Like, it's just him. He holds their whole bench down.
He is the
but
bench.
my sixth man of the year is Isaiah Thomas, though.
Plus, you got to throw Jamal Crawford in because, as you said preseason, I believe when we brought this award up, it should just be called the Jamal Crawford Award. Like it's you got to beat the champ kind of for Jamal Crawford to lose. So I think you got to at least throw his name in there. I thought I had a surprise pick with Isaiah Thomas, but I guess not. So I'm also going with Isaiah Thomas. When it came across that Lou Williams one, I was like, wow, how did Lou Williams win? And then I like went through the candidates. I was like, well, I guess you could make a case for Lou Williams. There wasn't really that many, not as many as usual as you would think for sixth man of the year this year. But like you guys all brought up, I mean, Isaiah Thomas, his destiny is to be a sixth man. I mean, that's his game completely. I don't think he can be a starter. I don't think you could trust him, 35 minutes a night, but you can trust him for 20 to 25 to bring that energy off the bench and do what he does. So I went with Isaiah Thomas.
And by the way, I think it should be named after the microwave Vinnie Johnson, which is funny because the other day during the game, they called him Jamal Microwave Crawford.
Yo, it definitely should be named after Vinnie Johnson because, I mean, before it wasn't cool to be a six man before Vinnie. Salute to Isaiah Thomas and the season that he had and what he put in to that. However, as Jimmy alluded to,
bias.
you have to understand that the Los Angeles Clippers only have 6 players on their roster. They have 5 starters and Jamal Crawford. And Jamal Crawford plays about 40 minutes a game because he backs up like 3 different people. He's Chris Paul's backup, he's J.J. Redick's backup, and he's better than J.J. Redick, and he's Matt Barnes' backup. So I'm going with Jamal Crawford. The only wavering that I had a little bit was because he only played 68 games. I think he was injured for a large part of the season. 64, yeah, but he definily.
That's right on the what we call the Frank line. 18 games. The Frank line.
He do Turkaloo is really he don't Turkey Lou because he doesn't do anything off the bench.
What happened to him, bro? He used to be beautiful, man.
What happened to him? He's like 50 years old, Jimmy. That's what happened to him.
No, but he had once. He don't
gotta play like that. He don't gotta do that. Yo, he does nothing. He contributes nothing.
He does.
Wasn't he the Turkish Jordan? Is it called Turkish Jordan?
It's bad enough that he's actually on an NBA roster. It makes me think that he's got like blackmail on the new Clippers owner, or he's got some like files on Donald Sterling still that they don't want to get out. Maybe that's why he had a job, but they actually
he got some voicemails.
Play him minutes. I don't know what kind of evidence he's got.
I'm also a salute to Lou Williams for what he does, but
he was born in the 70s.
But my man Jamal Crawford can give you his 16 a game plus run the offense, and I don't think Lou does that very well. He's just a scorer, so Jamal Crawford for me. Yeah, there is bias. I'm biased. I admit it.
You should admit it.
We know. All right, so did we give Andy's picks?
I don't think we did. B. Austin's supposed to be on this.
Isaiah Thomas. He went with Isaiah.
A little on for fake Zeke, not Lil Zeke, fake Zeke. All right, so let's go to the Rookie of the Year. Frank, we'll start with you, Rookie of the Year.
I thought this was interesting because there's a couple of candidates that are like old rookies, so I don't know if I necessarily count them, like Nikola Mirotic and my boy, I want to say my man Bojan Bogdanovic because that's the only time I'm going to get to say a net this entire show because none of them are actually worthy of any awards. I went with Andrew Wiggins. I don't think it's much of a discussion. I mean, I almost like Elfrid Payton was in the discussion, but because they both play on bad teams, it's not like you can dismiss one of them for that factor. So I went with Andrew Wiggins. I mean, I believe he played all 82. He might have played 81, but and he played
he's above the Frank line. We know that.
Yeah, he's definitely above the line
He played 82.
being able to apply.
The Santos line.
He played 82. He started 82. Averaged
Yeah.
16.9.
And he averaged a lot of minutes too. The Timberwolves were always blown out, so it's not like their garbage squad was their regular squad. So it's not like they had garbage minutes for anybody. Andrew Wiggins.
36 minutes a game.
Listen,
Go ahead.
say that I told you guys I had 2 people for every award. This is the only one that I didn't, because to me this is clear cut Andrew Wiggins. Watching him play, he got progressively better as the season went on, and it wasn't just scoring. His rebounding, his ability to dish the rock. And watching them, I often wonder if Cleveland would have been better off with him on their team.
That's a fact.
No shade to Love, although
No,
it
that's a
is no
fact.
shade to Love.
Yo,
But I just wonder if he would have stayed and played with LeBron and Kyrie, would they have been better off?
I've seen
playoff run.
Andrew. I've literally seen Andrew Wiggins get better inside of a basketball game.
inside of a possession. He missed the shot, got
Inside
the offensive rebound, and got better.
From the beginning of the game to the end, he gets better every game. So he's by far clear and away my rookie of the year. Salute to Elfrid Payton. You never could have got it from me because of your haircut.
Oh, and his name is
but-
Elfrid.
Elfrid, and his name is Elfrid. But he is much better.
Need a nickname or something.
I thought he would be like when I saw him get drafted. I was like, why? For why? So salute to him. He balls and
Got drafted by your 76ers.
Yeah, I know. But
Should have kept his name.
doesn't matter.
Hey, the Sixers got somebody could be Nerlens Noel could be mentioned as well.
Wait, do you mean he's better? Is he better than Isaiah Cann? Nah, I'm trolling.
Oh my God. Look,
Not to the transgender.
Isaiah Cannon could be as good as Andrew Wiggins this year, but the fact that he let Dwight Howard
Yeah.
balls on the bench and he didn't do anything
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Nah, he didn't feel his balls. He grabbed his manhood.
He got Sandusky. There's no.
He definitely got to reach around on national TV.
Nah, you gotta reach around from the front.
yeah,
No,
man,
but actually,
He got to reach in front.
conversation-
he got a rub and tug.
this conversation was about a cheerleader, we'd be giving him props, but it went another way. So
Yeah,
To
my man
Jimmy's
got a
point,
rub and tug on
I think
TV.
it was better for Wiggins that he was not with the Cavs in a sense, because the fact that he plays with a bunch of scrubs, he could just be like, no, you guys got to give me the ball. You
No,
don't understand.
I
I am the best player on this team, so like, and I think that was one of the flaws that he had coming out of college. A lot of people said is that he didn't have that aggressiveness.
Yeah, what-
right.
No, I agree with that, but sometimes watching like the Cavs play, they like missing someone that athletic because I see Love get moved around all the time because he's
Yeah,
not
but they
that
wouldn't have
athletic
played.
player.
They wouldn't have played in the same. They wouldn't have played in the same place. And I think that this is actually not a slight to Raymond, but having Raymond James,
when you say that, yes, it is.
having Raymond James is such a it takes away from other people's areas of development. Like Kyrie, as excited as people are to see Kyrie get 30, Kyrie doesn't have the responsibility of running an offense and making plays for other people. So you really, his strength is
as a point guard.
Is scoring. He's never going to improve as a point guard playing with LeBron James. It's never going to happen. And I could see
Hopefully
the
they win
same
a couple
thing
chips
happen.
and it don't matter.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, I would
10
see
years
the
in
same
with 4
thing for
chips, like I
Wiggins.
never improved.
Yeah, with Wiggins.
What I care?
Well, yeah, with Wiggins, I could see the same thing. LeBron does certain things so well that it doesn't give him an opportunity to really do it in game. So that would be
David
my-
Blatt's gonna have like 4 rings. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, he's in the discussion with Phil Jackson, yet he doesn't know how to draw up a play. He just got LeBron James.
Hey, listen, man, listen. I honestly believe that James Worthy could have developed more, but he had to play his role, man.
Worthy was talented. Yeah, I don't know if I said it already, but I'm going with Andrew Wiggins as well. Shout out to a lot of, it's a few talented rookies out there. Like you said, Elfrid Payton, he came on at the end of the season, the back-to-back triple-doubles. Even his teammate, Zach LaVine, he started to show that he was more than just an athlete. Nerlens Noel from the Sixers, he went from, we were saying he didn't know how to play basketball. Yeah, in the beginning of the season to, climbing up that ladder a little bit. He looked pretty good at towards the end of the season.
He's the best one on Twitter by far, though.
But yeah, I went with Andrew Wiggins as well, and Andy. Who did Andy go with? I thought I had his picks
I
up.
think he picked Jimmy Butler. He said
He
Jimmy Butler for all awards.
said it don't matter.
I'm trying to scroll through all the minutia of he and Frank.
Come on, B. Austin. That was supposed to be your job, B.
He picked Andrew Wiggins.
All right, so another one for Andrew
You just want
Wiggins.
to let Devin sit there and struggle, huh?
I know.
Unanimous.
I'm stalling, and he just let me go. Like, he got it right in front of his face. All right, so is that everybody for Rookie of the Year? Is that
Yeah.
unanimous?
Yeah.
All
That's
right,
the only
That's
unanimous award.
unanimous.
So let's go to the big award. Let's go to Most Valuable Player. Now, we've
Big
been
L.
chronicling our waverings on this award, every week on our podcast.
Yeah.
So here it is. This is where we make that final decision. Jimmy, who you got? Most Valuable Player.
Now, why you gotta go to me first, though? Because I'm still wavering right now. My pick, honestly, my pick is James Harden. Beer Gang is in the building, but I think that Curry will win because State Farm has already put the plug in. Under Armour put the plug in. It's over with. But I think that my pick, if I had to vote, it would be James Harden. I don't really have to tell you guys why. You guys do know why. I mean, Dwight Howard is rubbing tugs on the bench, not really contributing. He's playing with, arguably, I think Frank was the one who said this. It's like one of those teams LeBron took to the playoffs. And so I have to go with James Harden. His offensive game, he took it up another level. He gave a little bit of effort on defense, which compared to how he used to play defense is a whole lot, because before he gave no effort at all. So even him giving little minimal effort, because he still can't play defense, he improved as a player. He also, to hit the cliche, he makes his teammates better. But with that being said, he's just better at finding an open man. Let's just say that. So overall, he's the MVP. Go ahead, Frank.
I'll be brief because I agree with everything Jimmy just said. I think Harden should win. I think Curry will win. I mean, Harden has played just you know it's your season to be the MVP when his patented wraparound defensive move actually works in the playoffs. He did it to Dirk Nowitzki the other night, and it actually worked. He got the steal, and they got a transition basket. That doesn't make him the MVP. I don't know what else does.
But
that is the worst. That's the worst. I don't even. Yeah.
Yo,
He
What
lost
does
points
that
there
mean?
for sure. He
Yo,
lost
why
points
though?
for sure.
I'm embarrassed. What does that mean?
I'm stirring them up. I'm mixing them up. I don't know. I think I just made that up, but it's probably it.
I think it means
Jimmy White do after
wiggled
the
around
game.
the rim. I don't know.
He said he's gonna get a rim job after the game.
He looking at the White like, bunch of elbows in Houston.
So my echo the sentiments of you two brothers. Curry's gonna win, but my pick as well is James Harden. He's had a spectacular season. I'm gonna be honest with you guys though. San Antonio Spurs win that game on the last day of the season. My pick would have went to Russell Westbrook, point blank. But the fact that they're not in the playoffs, I can't bring myself to still give him the MVP. So I go with my next pick, which was the two that I was going back and forth with all season, and I'll go with James Harden.
I kind of wanted Russell Westbrook to win, but I agree with you that he can't. But they didn't make the playoffs, so he can't win.
Yeah.
But I was rooting for him just because he gets so much hate thrown his way
Yeah.
that I wanted him to win just to piss people off.
And this would have been his best chance to win it, this season. But
Yeah, KD gonna come back and gun his ass, and you know what I mean.
I went
Or he
ahead.
might mail it in because he's on his way to the Wizards, but whatever.
Yeah.
I went ahead and selected dark horse for me, Kyrie Irving, as my most valuable player because I feel as though he takes a level of pressure off of LeBron that he's not used to. He's not used to dealing with. He's got a guy that's not afraid to take any shot anywhere ever, and he's shown up big. So that was my selection. I know. Did y'all believe me?
Nah.
I'm down. Beard gang, all day. If your dad didn't have a beard, you had two moms. Ladies, if you're dating a guy, with no beard, you're a lesbian. If you pick a guy this year to win the MVP and he doesn't have a beard, you need to question your morals. So James Harden is definitely the MVP for me. Salute and shout out to one, Stephen Curry. This is consensus all the way around. We all believe and know and understand that Steph is going to win it because he's the most marketable. He is probably the most fun to watch. What he does is more fun to watch than James Harden. Now, I'm not saying James Harden isn't fun to watch because he puts on a show, but Steph, there's a level of relatability, and that's not a word, but I made it up. There's a level of relatability with Steph.
I get what your point.
Yeah, you don't, even though you know that he's not, he's doing this against superhuman athletes. He got the baby face. He looks like he's 11 and a half years old, coming out of puberty or going into puberty. I mean, he's got that going for him, and he looks like a regular, normal human being. He doesn't even look like an NBA player, and he's out there just kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a young boy because he don't brush his hair for one.
Yeah, he don't.
And you good, B. I just looked it up. Relatability, you good.
Okay, you good there. But listen, he also does this thing, B. Austin, that a lot of smaller people like in the NBA don't. You play the playground and a guy who's like one of the shorter guys, and he has like certain moves that he does in order to get his shot off when he plays with. Like he does that in the NBA, like some of his floaters and his unorthodox shots. That's like playground stuff.
Yeah.
So he's totally
definitely
relatable.
He brings the funk. No, what'd you say? He bring the funk to the league. Like
he's second generation. He's safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Two parent household. He's a
two-parent household.
He's a Coach K recruit.
He's definitely got that pickup mentality where he starts at the 2-point line and somehow runs back to the 3 and then takes the 3 because that's all he wants to take.
Is what you're saying, Jimmy? The tanning.
He put it like this: he's a great recruit for Coach K.
Why did he end up at Davidson?
I don't know. The funny thing is, he was so good at dating that Coach K wasn't making that mistake twice and gave his brother an opportunity.
That's what I was about to say. Like
his brother has him to thank for Coach K.
Wasn't like recruiting him that hard, and he went to Davidson. And like you said, he said, "I'm not gonna make the mistake twice." Gets his brother, and then kind of made a mistake. But
his brother has him to thank for his Duke, his time at Duke.
His brother has everything. His brother has to thank him for everything that happened to him after high school. Because
also shout out to Del Curry, because growing up we know Del Curry is one of the best shooters in the league. I mean that's all he pretty much did, and it's obvious he spent time with his son. So shout out to you for being a great father, because you see some second generation players, Hardaway. How do you not have a handle?
While we on it, man.
Del Curry is a better father than Tim Hardaway,
Salute. Shout out to Mrs. Curry.
Shout out to her for other reasons.
Shout into her. I mean, shout out to her.
Shout out to Kenny Smith's wife. I don't know what she got to do with anything, but shout out to her.
Yeah. All right. Before this goes way left,
y'all do agree though. Del Curry's a better father than Tim Hardaway. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious.
Like I said, all that he can do, his son can do. So he taught him everything he knew.
He better than his dad.
Tim Hardaway decided that he wasn't going to teach the killer crossover to his son, because he probably lived in.
Tim Hardaway Jr. got that daycare. Got that daycare.
He had a nanny. He had a nanny
teacher.
Shout out to Michael Thompson too. Klay Thompson's also second generation.
Yeah, got that nanny game. All right, so those are our 2014, 2015.
We didn't get to Andy's.
We have to give Andy's pick because that was controversial when we were talking off
air. Raymond James for MVP.
Andy Flint.
All right, let me stretch.
Uses LeBron James for the MVP, and he gives all reasons that could be considered legitimate, because this is an award that LeBron James, probably could win year after year. But there's a few of us that disagree with his case for making it this year, and I know, Frank, you wanted to say a few things about that.
Well, I mean, Andy Flint, that's my guy. Pause. But he's currently smoking rat feces. That's why he can't be here today, because clearly he thinks LeBron James is the MVP. That's the only explanation. I know that LeBron James, like B. Austin said about Steph Curry, is trying to work on his relatability. But that doesn't mean you get to take a 2-week paid vacation like I do at my 9-to-5 job. You can't just do that. You have a vacation built in. It's called the off season.
But what about the Santos line? Was he above or below the Santos line?
No, the MVP Santos line is a little more dipped down, especially when you have James Harden and Steph Curry having the best seasons of their career. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there is no way LeBron James is the MVP this year. It just,
No,
he had the 2 seed
LeBron
in a
James wasn't
conference that
better
had
than Anthony
teams under
Davis,
500.
or he wasn't better than Anthony Davis or Skeletor in OKC. So there's no way he's better than Harden and.
Now, just to I know Andy's not here.
No,
I don't disagree with Andy. I mean, the thing is, I do disagree with his pick, but I understand, and I wouldn't even really complain if LeBron won. It's not like when they gave the award to the Canadian. But my thing is this: LeBron James could be considered the most valuable person in sports, let alone the NBA. And when you look at the shift, and I know there was so many other factors in terms of him, bringing a band with him. But, the Heat aren't even in the playoffs. They went to 3 straight finals. LeBron James can arguably be going to another. I think it was it 3 or 4 finals they went to.
There's context around that. They're missing.
No. I understand that.
They're missing their most valuable
transsexual
transsexual in Chris Bosh.
Yeah, towards the end of the season, they did miss Chris Bosh. But I'm just saying, when you look at the shift, LeBron, and you can even make that argument, the fact that he leaves and brings so many cats with him, he's a valuable commodity. But
Jim, that's why I gave him Executive of the Year.
Yeah, you give him executive year because the thing about it is it sort of gets like Michael Jordan. I'm not comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron, but there was a point where you could literally just give the MVP to Jordan every year because that's just what he was to the league and to his team. And the same case can be made for LeBron. So I get that. But with that being said, you got to do sort of like what they did to Jordan. When Karl Malone had a season unlike any other season, they gave him the MVP.
The problem is that if you take LeBron off of the Cavs, they're still a playoff team with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving in the Eastern Conference.
I don't know about that.
If you take James Harden off the Rockets in the Western Conference, they're a 35 win team. And
if you take LeBron off the Cavaliers, I'm not sure they make the playoff. Kevin Love is a loser.
No, Jimmy, you know why? You're hating.
You're hating. No, I don't like to.
Because Kevin Love would ball without LeBron there.
All
Kevin
speculation.
He's
in the Western Conference, if your best player is Trevor Ariza, you're a 30-win team.
I understand what you're saying because he's in the West, and that does make a difference.
But a good point about that speculation is the fact that, okay, if we say we take LeBron off, so he would have had to get injured because if LeBron never shows up, then, of course,
he's in Miami, and then Cleveland's
a bunch of those other dudes aren't even there. But for argument's sake, let's say. Okay.
You put LeBron James on any team in the NBA, any team in the entire league, they make the playoffs. I'm talking about any team.
I don't.
No, that's a fact. That's true.
Now, my question is, if you put James Harden on any team, are they a playoff team?
And
I mean, they have to be because you can't have much worse of a supporting cast than he has in Houston.
Now, here's the thing: if you flip-flop situations, now if you take LeBron James and put him on Houston, do they still make the playoffs?
Yeah.
If you take LeBron James and put him on Golden State,
put him on the Cavs.
Put him on Golden State, they might be undefeated.
He got a dick puller.
If you had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love on the same team, that's a 2 seed in the East easily.
Yeah, that's probably a 1. I mean, it could be a 1 seed if. I mean, they may be the 1 seed. Have LeBron not taking 2 weeks off if he didn't take vacation.
I need a vacation.
They'd be the 1 seed. So, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna play Flint for a minute, and his point was, similar to what Jimmy said, and he noted in our conversation off air that he'd been taking Harden for weeks. He said at the end of the day, it's LeBron. He brings teams to glory, leaves, watches them crumble, while being a finals fixture, comes back, restores order, while watching the former team crumble. Kind of, what Jimmy just said. And like B. Austin was saying, there's definitely context around that though, because LeBron doesn't go to any new situations that's jacked up. He's going to make sure everything is cool before he jumps on board.
And he's bringing a drummer, he's bringing a guitarist, he's bringing a band with him.
So he's coming with his band.
Nobody's going with Steph Curry. James Harden leaves Houston, he's not bringing nobody with him.
They're like, bye, Steph, it's nice. The weather's nice here in Golden State. We ain't going nowhere.
Right, even for Cleveland when he initially left. I'm not saying at all that they still would have been a playoff team, but LeBron is not the only person that they lost that season. You know what I'm saying? They lost LeBron. They lost LeBron's step pop. They lost whatever Shaq was giving them that year. They lost a few people.
But when you get people, he should listen.
I'm just
going to argue for Andy real quick. If you can get somebody to come play in Cleveland, who wants to play in Cleveland? The fact that you can get an all-star and arguably a top 10 to 15 player, that's arguable, to come play in Cleveland. Now, Kyrie's one thing is he took that chicken and stayed, but you got somebody to come to Cleveland, B.
I just get a hotel room for a couple months. I'll do it and just go where I want to go in the offseason.
Yeah, man. So I mean, the case can be made. With all that being said, Harden's still my MVP, but I understand Andy's point. You could damn near give it to LeBron every year, but you're gonna have to stop that. So like they stopped with Mike, it was like, yo, let's just stop.
Where Andy lost me is when he brought up the chemistry thing, saying that they needed time to mesh together. But then they only got better when they added 3 entirely new people at the trade deadline. So how does that make any sense? It doesn't.
Really
It's James Harden. He's smoking red. That's the only
Mossball is
explanation.
real MVP.
And my last point is this: after hearing Iman Shumpert's bars, I don't want them to win anything. MVP, another playoff game. They just need to go away now.
Yo, Iman, you don't got bars like that.
I don't think he was terrible. I think the fact that he made the song was a terrible thing. Like,
Yeah, you can't make like a basketball song naming your teammates hot. It's like damn near impossible.
Iman, kill yourself. All right, so those are our picks. The 2014-2015 NBA awards. We want to hear from you guys. So in the comment section, leave your picks for all of the awards that we did. If you want to do Executive of the Year, if you don't agree that that's LeBron James, feel free. But make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the page so you know when a new video is coming out. We should be coming back at you guys in a few days to talk about round 2 of the NBA playoffs. So watch out for that. But if you subscribe to the page, you don't really have to watch out for it because you're going to get that alert anyway. So y'all know what to do. Don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top.
Sports-Kings.com, warroomsports.com.
Facts.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first